Welcome back to Truckin' It. And I'm sorry that I had to make a Corona joke there, but go check out my other show, Talk Snack. Right now on Truckin' It, we're talking roadside rescues. Friends and followers, welcome back to my channel. Greetings from home. I hope y'all are doing very well out there. And tonight on Truckin' It, I want to talk with y'all about what you do when you come up on the scene of an emergency and you need to do a rescue right now. So let me get this out of the way first. A lot of highways are covered in a lot of places that you travel by Good Samaritan laws. So if you stop to help an injured person, you will be alright. As long as you help them deal with their emergency. And you will be covered and protected under your local laws. Check your local regulations for details on how this works in your particular part of the world. That being said, here's what you do if you come up on the scene of a crash. Now, first thing is you stop. You pull off safely to the side of the road at low speed, so you don't put yourself in danger. And then you get out and go check on that driver or who is involved. That's the first thing I want to get out of the way. You've got to make sure that driver has survived the incident. The second thing you need to do is call for help. Right after you go check on that driver, you need to get on the phone, call emergency services, and let them get out to the scene. The third thing you do is you help the driver involved evacuate. Now, if the driver's trapped, this is going to be a challenge. If there's a fire nearby, it's going to be even worse. So, do not move an injured driver unless it is absolutely necessary because the vehicle's tipped over or because there's the danger of a fire breaking out. Because if you move the driver, you can make his or her injuries worse. So, once you begin the process of determining whether or not to help that driver evacuate from the scene, the next thing you need to do is begin commands. Now, you may have to, while you're giving commands, you may have to kick in a windshield, you may have to pull a rope from said windshield, you may have to kick in a window. Do whatever you can safely do in order to get that driver out alive. Because that driver's going to be hurting from his or her seatbelt if he or she wears one. And that driver's going to be hurting from his or her injuries. It's that simple. Then, once you get the driver out, you need to get them to safety. And same goes for their passengers as well. So, how do you conduct an evacuation on a vehicle that's either tipped over or crashed? The first thing, once you've checked on the driver and determined the need to evacuate, you need to help them get an escape route. Number 2, begin commands to help them get their engine shut off, get their seatbelt released, and get into a safe location where you can get them out. Number 3 is this needs to happen quickly, especially if there's the danger of fire, explosion, or if there's leaking fuel involved. So use every tool that you've got access to on your person, or if you have to run across to get it out of your vehicle, do so. Now, the tools you might need are a good strong pair of boots, a fire extinguisher, just in case, and something that you can use to break glass. Now, if the situation's really bad, then your 4th option will be to wait on the fire department to come out with their tools, which are designed for extracting people from a vehicle. So, that being said, it's very, very important that while you're doing all this, you need to stay on the phone with emergency services. So, I would strongly recommend that your phone be in your pocket and you have a headset on while you're dealing with the phone call. So that way you can still do the rescue activities while you're on the phone trying to get help. Now, one last thing is that the majority of crashes involving vehicles are preventable. So, unless there's a mechanical failure or some freak act of nature that wasn't forecast, most crashes are caused by people looking down at their devices and using them improperly. And if you ever have to participate in one of these rescue situations because of a distracted, tired, or sick driver, that you will quickly find out what it's like to be me in some of those situations. Now, you should never, ever discuss fault until an officer's on scene, and even then, you really shouldn't talk about it. And anytime a driver's injured, you should definitely request an ambulance in order to prevent that driver's death or long-term injury, or to minimize the chances of it if the injuries are severe. So, now, there's one more question, and that is, have I ever had to rescue a driver or evacuate myself? And the answer is, most definitely, yes. In fact, I've had at least 4 different situations where a vehicle has either had smoke in the cabin, or I've had to rescue a driver from a crash, or I've had to call for help for another driver who was stranded. So, in fact, I'll tell you about that latest incident right now. I was just going down Interstate 40 in Tennessee, minding my own business at mile marker 305. A box truck passed me and then suddenly hit the inside yellow line. A gust of wind caught his back end and pushed him even further off the road, resulting in him going into the grass, and then he hit some terrain and tipped over. Now, this driver had a severe lack of sleep that had caused the incident, but we can't talk about actual causation. For now, I'm letting the investigators deal with that part, along with things like logbooks, etc., etc. But that driver and his passenger had to escape through a broken windshield. Well, I had to give them commands to shut off the engine and then arrange for them to get the help that they needed. And yes, I know I may have saved a life that night, or in this case 2, but I also know this, that if they would have been injured, I would have gone even further and I would have dragged them out. And by injured, I mean they were banged up pretty badly, but they were smart on one thing. That is, they chose to wear their seatbelt. So they were still able to get out, and well, they were injured. It's the fact they got out alive that counts. Therefore, if you drive a vehicle of any kind, I strongly advise you wear yours. And also, put your phones away until you absolutely need them. And keep your eyes on the road, just in case. Now, for those of y'all who are watching this video, I would really appreciate it if y'all would hit that thumbs up button down below, if you would give me a like, and if you would share this, and comment, and subscribe. I'm Zach Bell. This is Truckin' It. Let's make your best trip your next trip. Keep learning, keep thinking, keep on trucking. And if an incident occurs, now you know some basics on what to do, just in case you have to get somebody out of the vehicle. And until next time, I'll catch you later.